I got the weirdest damn hair. What's up, y'all? What's going on? Today, I don't have a million things planned. I've been busy, man. It's Friday, date night with the wife, so I had to go get a fresh cut. I got to get some profile photos done, some professional photos done for, people who hold events and want me to speak at them. I've never had a profile photo, you know what I'm saying? So, which is crazy. Years of doing this. So today, after this live, I'm gonna go ahead and do that, get professional photos done so that events and flyers and stuff like that could and ads could have my face on it. So that's the goal for today, but I gotta catch up. Damn, Trump signs order to end federal funding for NPR. All right, let me see what's going on. What did I miss? Anything big? Y'all got anything that I need to check out? With all this conversation about Elon Musk and getting pushed out of Tesla, which apparently is false, and him stepping down from DOGE, he had a conference with his DOGE team. The team is called Big Balls. Kind of corny, but kind of crazy, kind of cool too. Like the fact somebody who's doing all this can still troll. He trolls a lot. So I want to go ahead and watch this this brief video of Elon Musk talking about the crazy cuts and stuff. Let's see what's up.
Here's the interview with Elon Musk and the rest of the DOGE crew. We finally asked the one question
Kevin?
on our mind. Who's Big Balls?
It's me.
That should be obvious.
Why do they call you Big Balls?
I just said it as my LinkedIn username.
Okay.
Oh, team member.
People on LinkedIn take themselves like super seriously.
Look how
and
young
they're
these
pretty
guys are.
adverse to risk. And I was like, well, I want to be neither of those things. So I said it, and honestly, I didn't even think anyone would notice.
Yeah.
So what do you
LinkedIn
do?
is so cringe.
What does Big Balls do?
Right now, I'm working on some payment computer stuff. So one of our initiatives is to root out fraud and waste. And to do that, we started looking at payment computers.
No one knew we needed.
And as mentioned earlier, there is no accounting of what payments actually go to.
In the dark than have to go through.
Damn, my bad. Yeah.
Doing this because you're stirring up so much hostility by these people ripping us off?
100%. Well, we don't need to speculate about that. You can see online in the protests that they make that very clear. I've been hanged in effigy many times. And there have been people that have actively advocated at these violent protests for my death, and also advocated for the death of the people at DOGE.
The young folks of us have gotten hate mail, threats from reporters and the public alike. I think, speaking for myself, I dropped out of Harvard and came here to serve my country. And It's been unfortunate to see, lost friendships. Most of campus hates me now. But I think fundamentally, I hope people realize through conversations like this that reform is genuinely needed. And if there's one, I think this is important to say, if there's one group of people who really have a shot of success, it's the people here. They're up until 2 a.m., Monday through Sunday. DOGE does not recognize weekends. We're working all the time.
What inspired you to drop out of Harvard to do this?
There's a lot of reform that's needed. I think the value of this and the impact here is so much more vast than anything you could learn in a classroom doing computer science.
And you guys are sleeping here, I'm hearing. You guys are up all night. You have this meeting at 10 o'clock every Wednesday?
We'll probably go back to work right after this.
Yeah,
You're going back to work after this?
Yes.
right.
It's almost 11 o'clock.
So that's early.
It's early? Can I go to bed? It's an incredible work ethic. You guys should be really, really proud
That's
of yourself.
crazy, bro.
Do good people come up to you and say thank you for doing what you're doing?
Absolutely.
Like, people hate them for what? For what? Because they don't have they're not politicians? These are young men from Harvard. Dropped out of Harvard to do this. That's crazy.
There are people in the State Department that will stop you, or all of the agencies that we've been to, that'll stop you in the hallways or write emails and say, I was scared to write this, or I don't know if you're interested in this. But they usually have great ideas. And if they often have the best ideas because they've worked in the places and they've been stifled by the bureaucracy for so many years. So one of the great things that, at least in my experience, and we listen to them and empower them.
So
Yes, in fact, I'd like to emphasize that because we'd like to just give a big thank you to all the government employees who are helping reduce the waste and fraud, because this is, we really couldn't do it without you. So
it's a group effort.
yeah, absolutely. So I'm not trying to sort of say all government employees are bad. That's absolutely not the case. It's just that, there actually just does need to be a serious effort to reduce the waste and fraud. And we're just making that happen. And a lot of people in the government are very glad to see it happen.
I think it's really important to recognize every single person around this table that's embedded within an agency is supporting that agency, whether they're working on systems or working through people. We are encountering droves of government employees who are missionaries, not mercenaries, who are actually here serving because they believe in what they're doing and they want to do things well. We are trying to empower them, and they feel empowered now to ask the question of why? Why aren't we doing this? What else can we be doing? How can we fix this? And I think agency by agency, it is filled with exceptional government employees, right? And when we give them the tools, when we give them the systems, and we leave behind systems to help them do their jobs better, that's the permanent change, right? And they're embracing that, not because it's new to them, it's because it's something they've always wanted to do. But for the first time ever, we're giving them the tools and the collaboration to be able to do that.
It's a very important message. Yeah. That message needs to get out a lot more. I'm so glad you said that.
We have exceptional people at all of our agencies. Exceptional. I mean, they do a thankless job and they work incredibly hard.
I love to hear how collaborative it is with these people in these agencies, and it's not all conflict. Sometimes in the media, you always hear about conflict, and you guys are considered these ruthless suits that come in and scare people. But it's
Conflict is the exception.
There is conflict, but that is the exception. It's actually true of history in general. People study the wars a lot, but actually most of the time there wasn't war.
It's just not as exciting.
It's just not as exciting.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, for the TV guys, we like conflict, but in this case, we love the collaboration. So thank you guys. Thanks for allowing me this access in here.
All right, in other news, 100 days of President Donald Trump's second term means 100 days of Elon Musk and his effort to eliminate wasteful government spending.
So Rich Edson is live outside the White House with more on DOGE.
So that was what the team looks like, bro. Crazy. But I want to see, what fraud did they find? How much money have they saved us? I know it's in the hundreds of billions. They were promising trillions, but even hundreds of billions is a lot of money. And some of it isn't fraud, right? Some of it is just what's the best word I can give for it is they just weren't paying attention to it. What's the best word for that? I don't know. You guys come up with it, but they were being lazy and they weren't on top of things, and money was being spent. And it might not be money that's disappeared. It might be recovered. Because like for example, some of it was being sent to bank accounts to people who died 100 years ago. And that money might still be floating somewhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, I know they're letting people go. They're cutting jobs, but listen, it doesn't even have to be about whether or not you're doing your job. It could be that your job is pointless. And what a lot of people are there's an argument that unemployment has been propped up by our government, just hiring a lot of people. Actually, let's look that up. How can you tell me the historical growth in government jobs? I mean, if that's the point, it's kind of like a Ponzi scheme, right? Like you're using American taxpayers to prop up unemployment, but that's not something that's sustainable, right? And there's a lot of that's why you can't. A lot of people be like, "Yo, that's the data is there. The data don't lie." Yes, it does. Some of it is data that can be used, and you gotta see how they come up with the data, right? But some of it could be used just for convenience sake. So yes, the growth of government employment has historically influenced unemployment rates, and recent trends illustrate this dynamic. So let me see. And then I'll give you guys some sources if you want, but because people are always like, oh, you get your information from Fox, you get your information from CNN, you can't get your information from anywhere, apparently, right? So historical growth in government jobs. The government has added 709,000 jobs, the largest percentage gain since 1968. Since 1968. April of 2025, last month, federal jobs declined by 9,000 people. So it's not like they fired a lot of people yet. Because just in April, or just in 2023, for example, 85,000 jobs were added. Let me see how many. Let's see. So they let go of 9,000 people, and this is part of why I think it was Marco Rubio and Elon Musk, they were getting into it a little bit because Elon wanted him cutting jobs faster. The U.S. federal government employs approximately 3 million workers. $3 million workers. A bunch of them are stay at home. A bunch of them ain't doing shit. It's propped up economics, man. Because we know a bunch of these jobs are not necessary. We know this, man. A bunch of these jobs. So between all the jobs that the federal, this is not a communist country, guys. This is not social. This is not a society where our economy should be based on what our government's doing. It's supposed to be capitalist. And they're paying for these jobs with the taxpayers of people who have legitimate jobs, who run legitimate businesses, to hire people that are we're just hiring them just so that the unemployment numbers look good. You know, I don't know, man. I think when you start diving deep and you really are trying to seek truth, I feel like, you can't really trust anybody, any political party. Trust but verify. You got to verify. And I think that's why it's important. That's why I love the idea that U.S. taxpayers are the ones that are going in very smart, intelligent people, I think they're patriotic, are going in and they're the ones that are auditing these government officials, these politicians, these people who get paid with our tax dollars, who are supposed to serve us, who are supposed to serve the people who are auditing them. And it's not like they're the ones that are doing the firing. They're just presenting what they're finding to the president and his administration, and then they're making the decisions. I love it. I love the concept. I don't understand why people hate it so much, besides the fact that they have a personal vendetta against Trump and Elon Musk. But just like, I've never been the type that says, do not sit down with them because you disagree. Like this, put the country first, man. Put the people first. All right. Let's see, where we at? Oh, yo, one thing that I learned about, remember how I was talking about the press secretary the other day, and somebody had commented like, bro, she is the worst. So anyways, I found out that the press secretary, she's 27, and her husband is pretty much 60 years old, 59 years old. And they have a child together and they're married. I was just like, damn, when did they meet? Because I remember people going ham on Kamala Harris and her relationship when she was like 30 years old with a 60-year-old man. I remember that, but there's some distinct differences here, and I'm gonna list them off. I don't think both of them are kind of like are wild to me, And don't get me wrong, these are adults; they can do whatever the hell they want. But they're still different. Like it's not something you see every day. But I think these are the distinct differences. But I want to find something on that because she's got a lot of haters that will bring it up. Let's see. Oh, and then I realized that she is the youngest press secretary ever, apparently. All right, let's just watch this clip real quick.
He's my greatest supporter. He's my best friend. He's my rock.
Caroline Leavitt is opening up about her 32-year age gap with husband Nicholas Riccio. The 27-year-old White House press secretary shares what she calls an atypical love story on The Megyn Kelly Show. The pair met in 2022 when Caroline was running for a seat in Congress in New Hampshire. The political aide lost her bid, but ultimately won in romance, being introduced to her future spouse through a mutual friend on the campaign trail.
We met, we were acquainted as friends, and then we fell in love, as you said. And
was there any I can't date him, he's 59,
yes,
57,
of course.
whatever.
I mean, it's very atypical love story, but he's incredible. He's my greatest supporter. He's my best friend. He's my rock.
Following their engagement in 2023, the couple welcomed 8-month-old son Nicholas Robert Nico Riccio in July. They went on to exchange vows 2 weeks before President Donald Trump's second inauguration in January, in what Leavitt has recently called one of her favorite days. And speaking on the support she receives from her husband, Caroline says,
he's built a very successful business himself, so now he's fully supportive of me building, my success in my career. And he's the father of my child, of course, and he's the best dad I could ever ask for.
Yeah, so that's what's getting it was getting a lot of critique. Look, people making fun of her. She's 27, looking 42. She does look older. She definitely looks more mature than her age, than 27. And they're criticizing this, but these people were not criticizing Kamala Harris, right? And I'll be honest with you, I think there's a distinct difference here. I think with Kamala Harris and her 60-year-old boyfriend, you know, there were a lot of rumors that Kamala Harris was dating a lot of different men around that time. And she was dating to make her way through, to work her way up in different positions in politics. And I can see why people argue that, because the 60-year-old man was, I think, the governor of the mayor of San Francisco. He was at a much higher position than she was, and little by little through the years, even after she just kept leveling up, and people didn't understand it. I think the difference here is neither one of these of the press secretary. I think her name is, what is it? Carolyn. Yeah, Caroline or Carolyn. Carolyn, in terms of politics, is much more successful than her husband is. But her husband's also wealthy, apparently. So, and they had kids together. And they're married. This is a successful, good-looking woman, in my opinion. She's 27. She could pretty much have any man she wants. At the time that she got involved with this guy, right? So I think I feel like they can't use the same argument that people use against Kamala Harris. They can't use with her. That's why it's a little bit different. Nonetheless, it is different though. But nothing compares to what the Prime Minister of France and his wife got going on. Brigitte Macron. Have y'all seen that? We got to check that out if y'all haven't seen it. Easy Blends, what's heavy accusations? So yeah, the other thing is Kamala Harris's age gap was I believe it was bigger. The timing was early in Harris's career, while the dude Willie Brown, apparently was the 6-year-old man's name, was up in politics already. So the power dynamic is that Kamala Harris dated an active political kingmaker, is the way that they put it, where Carolyn's husband is not in elected office. And Carolyn was already a national figure. And so they think that Kamala Harris dated this guy, Willie Brown, so that she could be appointed into the state boards. And what they're saying is there's no influence whatsoever in Carolyn's success from her husband. The guy's name is John Conway. And so that's why I think this criticism isn't as heavy, but it's there on both sides. I do think Kamala Harris's looks worse, and I think Carolyn Levette's, when you look at the grand scheme of things, she's a grown woman marrying somebody. They're both successful. Hey, good for them. It's just, I also think it's a hot topic because of what was going on in France. Like, what's up with all of these people and their crazy age gaps? Like, look at this one. And if y'all haven't seen this, man, it is insane. This is insane. about to put this on. While we're watching this, I'm trying to find something. All right, let's listen to PBD talk about it.
For this one?
Oh my God.
That's the one I'm going to because
God.
I know
Listen
you
to
and
this,
her, you guys became best friends after UFC.
I spoke with her longer than anybody I've ever talked to in my life.
I'm listening to these guys. First of all, Candace has got a sense of humor.
She's hilarious.
And I'm sitting next to Vinny because I
gotta
sat.
call Vic back.
You're behind Trump.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so it was you're here, Sage is this side, Candace is over here, and you're hearing, Vinny and Candace. And it's like, hey, how do you feel about these two guys? They've been on top of each other for over a minute. They look like they're enjoying it. Are you okay with that? And literally, they're doing commentary.
It's a sport.
And I said, I would entertain watching you guys react to a UFC fight.
100%.
It would be funny as hell. But while we're there, she's saying all this other stuff. And she said, Candace Owens, this is a story, claims French First Lady Brigitte Macron is a man.
What?
Listen.
Candace Owens
Can you go
has
back to her tweet right there?
wagered
Crazy.
her career that French President Emmanuel Macron's wife was born a man. It goes that French lady Brigitte Macron, 70, was actually born Jean-Michel Trogneux before eventually transitioning at the age of 30. It further states that she did not give birth to any of her three children and that her first husband, 69 years old, retired banker, said to have died a recluse in 2020, never existed. She went on to tell her followers why she thinks this theory has legs. The first obvious thing she said is the First Lady is simply unable to produce any photos of herself throughout the first 30 years of her life. Guys, how easy to debunk this.
Well,
if you say, Candace, no, actually you've lived as a man for 30 years, I've lived 30 years. I'm going to show you every photo of every year that I've lived.
That's wild.
So she's fully going on there.
Vinny, I'm going to let you take the thing. I just want to read Candace's quote. This episode is blowing up. She just did a whole reaction to
go
this.
ahead.
After looking to this, and this is actually huge, I'm willing to stake my entire professional reputation on the fact that Brigitte Macron is in fact a man.
I would bet, Adam,
That is
okay.
like she's dying on this hill.
Yeah, by the way,
Interesting.
by the way, and trust me, guys, I sat there and spoke with her in the by the way, in the green room. Me and her are so locked in. Ivanka Trump comes and talks to her, and she goes, "Hi, Ivanka." Anyway, back to this guy.
Yeah,
like she was honed in. Rob, I just sent you a link that you could post for everybody to do the research because this is what Candace posted. But guys, let's break this down. So they're saying she was born Jean-Michel Trogneux, right? The source of this information on Brigitte Macron's past life was in articles published in September in the journal Fait des Documents, citing the extensive evidence about this cover-up, right? So the French social... Okay, so the journalist who reported is Natasha Ray, who's the author. She said that she had firm evidence that she was born Jean-Michel Trogneux, a transgender, all right? And she's been researching the shady past that she disappearance of her alleged brother. Now, this is the weird part. Jean-Michel Trogneux was last spotted with the highly controversial Joseph Doucet, who is a gay Baptist pastor, since found murdered, mind you, in the late 80s of the previous century, around the time when Brigitte appeared, says Ray. The pastor was the first advocate of gay marriages and trans surgery and head of a pedophile ring. And the plot thickens, all right? Many suspect.
But this is nothing. This is nothing. Wait till we are just tapping the surface. No, but Michelle Obama don't have this much evidence. And then the fact that they're not coming out and saying it's not true. Like, shit is insane. Like, if Candace Owens is literally risking everything, her whole career, her wealth, everything, to put this out there. It's crazy. But it's just touching the surface. The Michelle Obama rumors have nothing on this shit. Listen, continue to listen.
Suspect that Duce had played a role that was similar to Jeffrey Epstein, blackmailing those in power. But, and Pat, and again, Kansas nails it on the head. How about take a blood test? But what's a chromosome? XY, Tom, or XX? That's all you got to do to shut everybody up.
Correct.
She's suing people. Like,
produce pictures before your 30th birthday.
And again, bro, this is like the
or
zero.
pictures of being pregnant.
Again, and this goes to the
or
Michelle Obama thing.
Tom, let him speak.
Yeah, no, but I love you. Thank you. And then go back to the Michelle thing. Just show the photos. Prove everybody wrong, okay? But here's even in depth that you guys didn't talk about. Emmanuel Macron is 46. His wife is 70. That's a 24-year difference, okay?
No, but that's, and so you want to say, hey man, but Kamala Harris and the press secretary, Carolyn Levitt, kind of the same thing. The only difference is the person who's older is the woman, not the man. We usually see it the other way around, so it's kind of a social norm. This is not a social norm because it's the wife that's 70 years old and the husband's 40, right? But I want you guys to look at this image because this is next level. This is them today. This is when they met. She was his school teacher, bro. She was that boy's, that's him. That's her. She was his school teacher. That's what makes it weird. So not only are they trying to say that she was born a man, they also have this. And then they're talking about how she was involved with people who have been killed, who were also accused of messing with children, of being pedophiles. Like, this shit is insane. It's deep. Let's continue listening.
When he was 15 years old in drama school, that's when he met his
15.
now
She was his teacher,
his
I believe.
teacher at 15, and she said that they fell.
And here's another thing that's interesting, because you guys know that the president or the prime minister of Ukraine, Zelensky, you guys know he's an actor. And Candace Owen has been saying, like, all of these politicians around the world, they're just puppets. They're literally career actors that they put in position to be the face of whatever political party it is. Like, it's pretty bad here in America. We say the same thing in America, but it's really bad around the world, because this guy, the prime minister that we was just talking about, this guy and this woman, they're actors. She's an actress. He's an actor. He went to drama school. This was his drama school teacher. They're literally actors.
Fell in love because she loved his depth of poetry. Like, what? You like boys because they rhyme? Like, nobody's talking about the fact that that's when they met, and these three kids, Candace pointed out too, he fathered those three kids. And that big banker that you're talking about, nobody could find him. And then they said the daughter came out and was like, oh, he's dead. But everything is secret because you guys have to mind our privacy. But like I said, just prove everybody wrong. Grab your brother, put him next to you, and guys, you're all wrong, to hell with all you. But now you're going after the reporters who are going in depth. Pat, look at this. Rob, can you show this? Are you showing this? This is the brother, and that is her lined up. The brother that they said is not, that the brother's not in the picture anymore.
By the way, this is the only.
So they found a picture of her family photos. They can't find pictures of her as a child. But then they found a picture of this little boy who she's trying to say, her and her family are trying to say that this little boy was a sibling, a brother that isn't in the picture anymore, that they don't talk to anymore. But they have no pictures of this woman as a child. They have no pictures of her pregnant with her 3 kids, and they can't find any pictures besides one of her first husband. Shit is wild. And all they're saying is, can y'all show us some? And the reason why this came about was because I guess Candace Owens has friends who are journalists, and they just wanted to do stories of her because she's the first lady in France. I don't know if that's an actual term in France. Excuse my ignorance. But pretty much they, just like they do with Michelle Obama, what they did with Michelle Obama, you know, they do stories to inspire other women, that type of thing. They try to do the same thing with her, but once they get to her youth, they're trying to, you know, talk about her as a child, what it was like, her upbringing and stuff. They can't find shit. And so I guess some of the journalists who were doing this were getting shut down. The equivalent of their FBI was telling them to stop snooping, and this is the story. This is what you need to write. And I guess word got to Candace Owens, so she started digging. But the difference is that they can't shut Candace Owens down because she's in America. She's not in France. It's insane.
This is the one part that was very weird. Can you go up and Google her name? Can you Google her name? Go Google her name.
Brigitte Macron?
Yeah, if you can just Google her name and go to her Wikipedia. Okay, go to Wikipedia and go to her first husband. Go all the way down to the right. Spouses. You see she has 2 spouses. Yeah. Go to Andre Louis, whatever. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, go and put him up there, and I'll try to find a picture of him. Go to images.
Oh, what?
Only one picture, the black and white. Go. That's him. There are no other pictures of him.
That's so strange. It's so bizarre, and I'm telling you guys,
it's a little weird, Tom.
And so the link that she gave me, once I opened it on my phone, Pat, the phone went crazy because whoever did all that research, I'm pretty sure it's Natasha. It's so in depth, but at the end of the day, it's very, very thorough. At the end of the day, prove everybody wrong because there's a photo.
Thank you,
Robbie,
Kevin.
there's a photo of the whole family. I might have said it. I think it's in here. It's the photo of the whole family, and they're basically claiming that the girl in the lap of the mother is her, but it's not. It's the brother. Yeah, bro. Look at this document. You mean to tell me they didn't go in?
Who did this? Who wrote this?
If he could even get to the top, Rob. Who authored this? Do they even say who it is, dude?
Yeah,
this thing is.
I don't know. That's looking a little sus. But look at this. They made us website. They have been digging.
It's long.
And did they respond at all? Have they responded?
So she went after. She sued. She's suing for defamation and something else. But apparently Natasha Ray, they went to her. The French police grabbed her, fined her. But it's like, hey guys, all you have to do. Let's stop all this
Epstein
Candace,
Island,
all this everybody.
Course.
Hey guys, my brother, that's him right there. Show his.
No, but remember. This guy was part of Epstein Island. This dude right here, the chick who supposedly killed her, or I don't want to say killed her, unalived herself. That woman recently, she was the number one. She was one of the victims in the Epstein Island, and she was like the number one testimony for it, right? And apparently she unalived herself, but everyone's saying she didn't. And she used to tweet back in the day that she's not suicidal, that she talks to her therapist and she's let them know, she let her doctors know, she's let her attorneys know that she's not suicidal just in case anything happens to her. And Virginia Guthrie. Apparently, she made claims that this guy right here, what's his name? Emmanuel Macron, that he was there. That he was one of the ones that she apparently was servicing. Why the hell is my computer tripping right now? There you go. So him and Prince Andrew from the UK. So I don't know, man. Mm-hmm. I think if you're servicing the people and you are a public servant to the people, I think you should have to show that public information if the people want it, right? And so I also want to point out that it was allegations, right, that Emmanuel Macron was involved, but supposedly there's no evidence or credible reporting that it's true aside from accusations, right? Of course, people of that power, it's going to be difficult to prove otherwise.
Denial from Obama. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Yeah, am I taking crazy?
Rob, go back to that. Here's what I find interesting about this.
Yeah.
Why, out of any issue in the world, Candace is so invested in this that she's literally, per her words, willing to stake her entire professional reputation on the fact that Emmanuel Macron is a man. We
talked about it.
Any journalist or publication.
But Candace she ain't backing down. She's not saying allegedly. She wants all the smoke. I don't want that smoke.
Trying to dismiss this plausibility is immediately identifiable as establishment. I've never seen anything like this in my life. The implications here are terrifying. I do not intend to let this story and calling of the other journalists to look into this explosive story and report accordingly. I'm not to let up on the story. So it's interesting, of all the things in the world, this is where she's at right here. But I don't know. When's the last time we even mentioned Emmanuel Macron's name on this podcast? I don't even know if he's the president of France still. Is he?
Yeah, he is.
He's part of that whole community that's sort of the never Trumper of the NATO community.
I called you France about a week ago.
Yeah, but you know what it is?
Failed though.
Here's
what I'm most upset with.
They understood.
If you're a man and you're a leader and you have options like this, you're gonna pick a lady 25 years older than you, buddy.
Why would you?
I don't know.
Adam,
that's a weird. That's what I'm most upset about here.
Well, that's what Candace is pissed off about. Nobody's talking about the fact that you met him when he was 15.
Very weird.
That's when it started. Okay, that's called pedophilia, number one. And number two, she's tired of the gaslighting because she feels as if they put them into power, Adam, because they got dirt on them on some Epstein shit. It's like, listen, put them into power, do what we want, say exactly what we want to do the narrative, do all these decisions, because they got him. Because guess what? If they expose him, and by the way, there's photos of him with Justin Trudeau. If this is true at all, and he's into men, there's photos, and Rob, you can find them. He kisses Justin Trudeau. Yes, Adam, I do kiss Tom once in a while in this nature, but that's because I love him. But this relationship, where's the one, Rob, where they're like, up, where they're kind of close and we're like to the left of that. Up. To the right, that one right there. Who touches? When's the last time you touched another man's head like that, Adam?
This is what they do in France. You never seen grown men, kiss each other on the cheek. I don't know, dude. I don't know, Vinny. There's pictures of Trump and Trudeau. There's pictures of Trump and Macron. Make out with Tom there. I don't know. Here's my only question. We're covering this here in America.
I mean, they do that in Europe. They do they do that, especially if you're close friends. So I don't know about that one. That's definitely.
I felt so dirty.
Why? What is the French media saying about this? Why is this?
Well, guess what? The people in the street are wearing a blonde wig and walking around because they know, Adam. They're not stupid. But here's the thing: why lie?
He responded.
They voted for him.
He responded, denouncing the claims as fabricated scenarios. He just responded a couple days ago, by the way. And he says the worst thing is the false information and fabricated scenarios. People eventually believe them and disturb you, even in your intimacy. That's what he said. And then he emphatically denies the conspiracies and said it was a case of typical misogyny that women have to put up with nowadays. The baseless accusations that Brigitte Macron is trans has been spread by voices opposed to her husband, including those on the political far right.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Vinny.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. You listen to that.
Show me a
you listen to that
photo.
in the media, and this is translated from French, and I'm trying to make up my mind whether that's just fallacious or cunning lingo.
Just show us by the way, bring your brother to the camera and basically do this to everybody. Do that or show us your blood. Give us a little piece of your blood.
But
Look,
Vinny, even if it's not true, they're hiding something. How come the brother hasn't showed face? Do we know?
Respect to you, I respect Candace. Of all the things that are going on in the world, this is not even the top 100 on my list. But let them deal with this in France. I could give a shit.
Listen,
I'm more offended that a leader of a man would marry a woman 25 years older. That's some weird shit.
What about meeting somebody that's...
I mean, Adam is, bro, what are you talking about? You don't care? Like, you don't think that's... You don't care? Get the hell out of here, bro. This just shows, like, global politics affects America. We are global politics. The fact that these are the people that we work with, that our country's doing deals with, is crazy. Hell yeah, I want to know about this stuff, man. What the hell?
That's 25 years older, meaning at the age of 15 or 16, or whenever this relationship started.
Going after politicians, whether it's real, like this very possibly is, or it's not, is sport. And Pat said it last year. It's going to be the year of investigations, and you could say investigations and accusations. It's come true. Whether it's real or not, it's just another one, right? Attack. But where's the policies and things that are going to help the people that are down in the economy?
Rob, is this a People story? This is the People. Can you show up if this is People? This just came out yesterday, by the way. Go. So that's People magazine, okay? So go a little lower and zoom in a little bit and go a little lower. They don't talk about the trans stuff at all in this article, but one of the things they talk about is the following right there. Emmanuel, who has become president since 2017, met Brigitte first when the non-president was in high school in a November 23 interview Paris match. Translated the Independent, Brigitte shared how she never thought of entertaining a relationship with her student who was 15 at the time.
15. Hello?
For me, such a young boy was crippling. The two did not date right away. What do you mean the two did not date right away?
What are you talking about?
But kept in touch while Emmanuel was in college and later reunited. Now their marriage continues to get stronger. Emmanuel told CNN in 2017, "Love is part of my life and my balance. I do believe that you don't build something great and you don't behave properly if you're not."
She's got a son, or she's got kids the same age as him.
Not balanced and a strong couple. I've been with my wife for decades now. Have you?
What?
And she's part of me. So who is Manuel Macron? Anyway, just she was a high school. She was a high school. A little bit weird.
Very weird.
Definitely weird.
Or 16 years old.
And by the way, apparently there's some people that are even saying she's not 70, she's 78.
I heard another one of those too. And by the way, I'm offended, Tom. The next time I come and try to hug you and hold you, don't recoil like a snake and you're gonna act weird in front of all the people. Like, show love, Tom.
Yeah.
I love you.
It's a deep rabbit hole, yeah. I can't find photos of her brother that they say is that little boy. Shit is wild though, man. Shit is wild. So I guess that is the whole conversation of what's going on with all these politicians and the crazy age gaps. But France took it to a whole nother level. You know what I mean? Cougar's going wild in the UK, but it's happening here too. I mean, no, it's over here. It's different. It's young women with older men. That's kind of normal. But school teachers with their 15-year-old students, and then we can't find no history of her, and it's a lot of allegations. It's a lot of allegations. I ain't gonna lie. They try to do something like that my way. I gotta produce the truth, because ain't no way I'm gonna let y'all keep going with this narrative. Hell no. Right? Am I tripping? Ain't no way I'm gonna let you keep running with that narrative. I gotta produce paperwork. I have to. Something like these allegations, they next level, bro. They next level. All right, so I want to show you guys this story of this case of this kid. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. Let me tell you guys the story. It's insane. Let me tell you. I'm about to tell y'all the story in a second. Yeah. So the story is of Remi Cordova. Have y'all heard of this? Let me show y'all. Remi Cordova. So he was 14 years old when he shot a woman's car 14 times, bro. Shot her in the face and everything, bro. He was 14 years old and he got sentenced to 35 years, apparently. Oh, no. He got sentenced to life without parole. And then his co-defendant got 35 years. And there was a third person who didn't see any time. But apparently he had an AR-15 and he shot the woman's car 15 to 20 times because she had a minor traffic collision with them. Like literally just bumped their bumper and kid came out and just started firing off. So check this out. This is the kid. Let me show y'all the kid. Bro, that's a baby. That's a baby. And so this was the car that they were in.
But not empty. A Honda sat.
What was it? A Honda Accord or some shit.
At a red light.
Honda Accord. And this was the Land Rover.
Jaden was on her way. More shot was done at the Range Rover before speeding off into the night. She didn't.
Pop. 2 lanes next to me.
Cars in the lanes next to her started rolling forward.
So check this out. After this was the lady. Let me see if I can find her. Look at the car, bro.
To the scene.
Look at the crime scene.
Officers and paramedics moved fast, closing in on the Range Rover where a woman sat slumped over, bleeding.
That's her.
I'm gonna cut your seatbelt, okay? I'm Officer Leffer with the Denver Police Department, okay?
Poor lady, man. Poor lady, bro.
An officer pressed down on her wounds, trying to slow the bleeding. There were multiple shots, some to her face. It was bad.
I'm just gonna keep some pressure on him, okay?
Look at her baby's car seat, man. This was the lady.
Her full name was Pamela Cabriales. She was just 32 years old. Pamela was heading home after dinner with a friend that night. Pamela worked as a real estate agent. She had no affiliations to any gangs, no criminal record. She was a hardworking mom to her 6-year-old son, Leo. Pamela.
Now that kid don't got no mom because because of terrible parenting. I want y'all to hear this. This is the part that tripped me out. I want y'all to hear this. Because most people live in homes like this with parenting like this. It's insane. I know you people are gonna be like, no, they don't. No, man, I grew up around parenting like this. Not my parents, but my aunts, uncles, and stuff, parenting like this. In these poverty stricken in these less fortunate areas here, even in America, a lot of these homes are like this. A lot of these broken homes are raising kids just like this. There's a reason why our prisons are full of people, man. Listen to this, bro.
Murder? Authorities need to find out. The first suspect was Remi Cordova. Since he was only 14, he couldn't be interviewed alone, so his mom sat beside him in the interrogation room.
I'm going to advise you of your rights, and then I'm going to leave the room, and you
he's the
need to
shooter.
talk
He's the shooter.
about whether or not you want to talk about this investigation or not. Okay?
Did she just stop him from admission of guilt, or is she hardly able to believe what her son had gotten himself into? No one knows, but one thing was certain. The gang life had real consequences. And now Remi was a suspect in a murder case. Inside the police station, Remi Cordova sat with his mother, away from prying eyes. His mother warned him. The cops were asking if he went by something else. Is he Little Ro? She was a mother trying to protect him. She cut him off before he could admit. When the officers returned, the mood in the room changed.
I don't, so.
So look, she stopped him from admitting guilt. All right, let's continue.
What? Is that totally different? Yeah.
Are you guys done talking?
Yeah.
I'm going to turn the video back on, okay?
Yes, sir. Do you have my phone number?
The camera clicked back on, and it became obvious the mother knew that Remi was somehow involved. That was it. No explanations, no denials. Just a quick signature on the refusal form, and the interview was over. The officers...
Yeah. So she told him not to say a word. Now, I want y'all to listen to this. This was another kid this was the third kid that was involved. They blurred his face because I guess he complied or was complying, and he probably snitched and got a way lesser consequences. But listen to the mother.
Obviously, I'm gonna be like, all right, freely, like.
The detective stepped out, leaving the teen alone with his mom and stepdad. There was no sugarcoating it, no soft words to ease him into what was coming. They laid it all out in front of him.
No, now you're gonna end up doing time over someone else's bull. How am I doing time over someone?
Because someone died. Someone died. This isn't. It doesn't matter what you know or what you think you didn't know. Someone died last night. Someone died. This isn't a game. This is like a big deal. This isn't like, oh, you stole a car and didn't go to school. Like, someone lost their life, dude.
This is a big deal. This isn't like you just stole a car or skipped school. Fam. This is why the world needs men to step up and show these kids it's way cooler to be legit, to be valuable in your community. You can get a way bigger bag going the legal route. Trust me. I'm an example of that. And all the game is out there on YouTube, everywhere. You ain't got to go this route. This is just stupid. And what do you think these kids, how do you think these kids are getting here? It's definitely influence. The kid Remi, who's 14 years old, who killed that mother, was riding with two 18-year-old kids. This kid's a high school kid. The other kid is 18 years old, the driver that's doing 35 years. And listen to how it went down.
Behind somebody's dumb that you was in the car with.
His stepdad piled on, calling out the choices that got him here.
Nah, ain't no way the stepdad was doing his job, because ain't no way that kid should be driving around. There ain't no way, bro. There's zero chance. Zero chance, bro. How many of you guys in the chat are fathers? Could you imagine Your kid's driving around with an AR-15. Man, get the hell out of here.
Riding around thinking that this is hot shit.
He obviously doesn't give a fuck about anything. His life, his kid's life, anybody's life, apparently. And you're hanging out with him. Do you think he gives a fuck? Obviously not.
You don't know who your children are hanging out with? You don't know who your children's friends are?
No.
Yeah. The bar is so low. The bar is so low.
You touched that gun or not?
The cops didn't know if he touched the gun or not. Maybe he didn't, but that wasn't the point anymore. The point was, he was tied to something bigger than he ever expected, and there was no walking away from it now. The detective returned, no longer just asking questions. Now he had something concrete.
This next question is important, okay? All right. I'm going to ask you this. Be honest with me. Okay? All right. Did you shoot?
No.
Okay, and I'm asking you that because
Did I say I did?
someone independent said they saw you. They described you to a T and what you're wearing, that you were the shooter.
I promise I was not the shooter.
Okay, well, promise ain't going to cut it. Okay?
I wasn't the shooter.
So,
Remi hopped out and shot him.
okay?
The detective wasn't interested in promises.
Spilled the beans.
He wanted proof. And when he brought up DNA, the teen hesitated.
So again, when I swab for DNA, am I going to find your DNA on that trigger guard on that rifle? On that AR-15, am I going to find your DNA?
Probably because I moved it, yeah.
He had touched the gun. He had moved it. But that didn't mean he fired it.
Someone said it was me.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to step over here real quick.
Okay.
Someone said it was me.
Yeah. Okay.
I know I didn't shoot. I know for a fact I didn't shoot.
The weight of the accusation started to sink in. His mother couldn't control her emotions any longer.
Help me explain why I should believe you.
I mean, you don't have to believe me, but...
No, he has to believe you, dog. That's the thing.
All right.
He repeated it again, almost to himself this time. He knew he didn't shoot.
Look,
listen to me.
I know I didn't shoot that gun.
You have to be involved in your kids' lives. It's much more than just lecturing them. People would just be at work all day. Then when they get off, they want to, while their kids are just out doing whatever. You have to be involved in your kids' lives. You got to know who their friends are, where they're going, where they're at. I'm sorry, but that's just a fact. Especially if you're in an area, if you live in an area where shit goes down like this, man, these kids are all in gangs.
I know I did.
So in the beginning, they talk about you guys might have missed it, but they were talking about how these kids are all in gangs. He's in a gang. The other kid was in a gang. Remi, 14 years old, was in a gang. And the reason why he shot this woman was because he wanted to work his way up the ranks of the gang. 14-year-old kid.
I did it because he even asked Rashawn if he can shoot before he even shot the gun and hopped out.
The detective told him point blank he wasn't buying his whole sleeping story. A shooting had just happened. Someone was dead, and the teen expected him to believe he fell asleep.
Sat in that chair and told me the same thing you're telling me? Because I don't believe you. Okay?
I never felt I really fell asleep.
Well, I find it hard to believe you.
When he was at his auntie's house, I really fell asleep.
Okay.
I was just laying down in the back with a blanket, slumped.
So you've just witnessed a shooting that's turned into a homicide, and you're going to tell me now you've fallen asleep? I know you didn't. But my point is somebody shot with an
Because afterwards, they shot at a McDonald's like 20 minutes later.
AR-15, a high power. You fall asleep?
I really did fall asleep.
Okay.
They woke me up saying the
So I think he was trying to say that he fell asleep when they shot the McDonald's, and they woke him up when the cops were already behind them.
cops behind us.
Who's they?
Remi and Rashawn.
Okay. Did you ask him to stop?
Huh?
Did you ask them to stop?
Yes. I was like, bro, why are you going so fast? He was just going fast.
Tell me more about that.
And he just going fast, and he just smacking everything in his way. And then we get to the main street, and we go down. It's a hill. Boom, pothole. flip up. I hit my head, and then I don't remember it. I just hopped out.
Okay.
Like, all I know is I just started, like, flying around in the car, hitting my head on everything.
All right. The detective leaned in, watched the teen closely. He really had nothing to hide. Why did he run? Why not just stay put when the cops showed up?
If you've done nothing wrong, you leave. Why do you?
I moved it over to my
I want to show you guys the rest of this. This is the kid. Now, look.
Ranks in the gang world.
Remi Cordova.
Later revealed that night, and Pamela's the bigger picture IP up.
All right, so they're showing
teen
right
story.
here. This was the driver. He's doing 35 years now. He was 18, apparently. He was 14.
Had gaps, and the detectives knew it. But the bigger picture was clear. Remi Cordova had pulled the trigger that night, and Pamela's life had been stolen in an instant. Prosecutors later revealed Cordova's motive. He was trying to climb the ranks in the gang world.
Remi Cordova was accused of trying to impress gang members when he fired at Pamela Cabriales' car.
His case was too severe for juvenile court, so it was moved to district court. He was charged as an adult with first-degree murder.
That's him at 16, I think.
And first-degree attempted murder. The second charge came because another driver had been in the line of fire, though they weren't injured.
He'll spend the rest of
in
his
court,
life in
Remi
jail.
Cordova spoke to Pamela's family.
Listen to this. Listen to this fool.
Feel for y'all, and I understand completely, and I'm terribly sorry for the pain that you guys feel. But I cannot take responsibility for something that I did not do.
In November 2023, Cordova was found guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 40 years. At just 16 years old, his fate was sealed for decades. Nishan Johnson, the driver that night, didn't escape justice either. In June 2023, he was convicted of multiple charges, including second-degree murder,
That's who your
criminal
kid's
attempt
hanging
to
out with?
commit manslaughter, and vehicular eluding. He was sentenced to 35 years in prison. The third passenger, the teen from the interrogation room, didn't face any charges related to Pamela's murder. His story may have been messy, but in the end, the evidence didn't place him at the trigger. As for Pamela, her family refuses to let her name fade. Her memory lives on through her son Leo.
Both my son and I have gone through all grievance stages. What do you do when your child asks you, who's going to take care of me if you die, Daddy? I'm sad because I don't want to lose you. I remember going to this place with my mommy before she died.
Yeah, man, that was really sad, bro. And sometimes whoops, got y'all looking at my kitchen. All right, there we go. Sometimes I watch this stuff, man, because it makes you think, bro, that when you're out here in traffic and stuff, and you think, you're untouchable, bro, or you think you just, you're not doing bad shit, you're not in the streets and stuff, you still have to be careful, because there's so many crash outs. There's so many young people who are dumb as hell, or not even young, older people who are just dumb as hell. People in general who are dumb as hell, who got nothing to lose, who ain't thinking, who are okay with taking somebody's mother's lives. It's insane. That's why I make sure I'm always on my pivot, all my P's and Q's, and I'm always carrying. So I would suggest the same to all the young men out there. See how long I've been live. All right, guys, I got to get off. I'll probably be back for another hour or so. I got to go take some profile pictures. But I want you guys to see those couple of things. I will see you guys probably like in a half hour or so. Let me go take these pictures.